Alright, back to YouTube. And just so you know, we're watching a video that is question mark. That's literally the title. I just copy and pasted it. So here we go.
Alright, time's up. I imagine that the vast majority of people probably answered with Desolus, Silithus, Alterac Mountains, Deadwind Pass, you know, the usual suspects. But there's one zone in Vanilla WoW that literally everyone knows about, but is almost universally forgotten. And that zone is Stonetalon Mountains. Stonetalon Mountains is a contested zone that shares a border with the Barrens and Desolus.
You know,
The fact that it's a contested zone is
I
quite
hate that
interesting
area.
in of itself, as despite there being
I
many
hate that
low-level
area.
horde quests available here, for Alliance players, there's almost nothing at all. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that if you're an Alliance main like me, you've probably never even been here before. The zone itself has an extremely unusual design, and there really is nothing else like it in the game. It's essentially one giant valley that connects
I'm still
to
having
three
to do
different
stuff in the
open
background
chasms
because
that are completely different to one another. Due to the zone's odd
Because I keep
layout
getting
and
attacked.
frustrating quests, even many horde players tend to skip it entirely when leveling.
this
But I'm
is
not-
true. If you don't play WoW, this is absolutely true. I skip it. I hate this place. Unless I am forced to go there, I do not go there. I hate it. It's awful.
Here to talk about the zone or even its quests, but something much, much weirder. We all know that WoW has a day-night cycle that is in sync with the server's time zone. If it's daytime in real life, then it will be daytime in game too. If it's nighttime in real life, then it will be nighttime in game too. A zone's atmosphere can change significantly depending on whether it's day or night, but this is true especially for Stonetalon Mountains. During the day, Stonetalon Mountains just looks and feels like a pretty typical looking place.
It's
A
kind
bit
of
of trees,
okay. So it's kind of not supposed to look very interesting. Whoops. I'm being attacked again. Okay. I mean, you could say the same thing about the Barrens, about the starting zone for the Trolls, though that looks a little bit better now that the Trolls took back some of their islands. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a Pine Barren, except much drier.
here, a bit of grass there, but at night, this zone and the way it feels to be in it almost completely changes.
I don't know why
From
he's
the
just
hours
in
of
his
midnight
underwear.
to 5 a.m.,
I have
music
questions.
no longer plays in the zone. Instead, all you can hear is this strange wind ambience that sounds really freaky. What's weirder is that at night, the entire zone has this creepy red tint to it for seemingly no reason, and there's a ton of fog that limits how far you can see. Not sure if you can really notice it here, but the difference
Needs to feel the
when it's
breeze
daytime
between his
is
knees.
really, well,
Maybe.
night and day. Now obviously when I first discovered this, I was confused just as much as you probably are. Why is it like this? No other zone has effects like these at night. It just seems weird. And again, no matter how much I looked into it, no one had an answer. But that's not even why I'm making this, because yeah, it's weird, but it could just be some sort of attempt at atmospheric immersion. No, I'm making this because of a strange phenomenon that kept happening to my character here. If you know me, then you'll know that I'm pretty much nocturnal, as in seriously nocturnal. I'm always up at night and in the early hours of the morning because that's just how I like it. As a result, whenever I play WoW, it's always in the dark. That's how I noticed how weird Stonetalon Mountains was in the first place. In classic WoW, I had an orc warrior called Warzerk that I would occasionally level up to see what the horde side of the game was like. Just a way to relax and see what I would have otherwise missed out on my Alliance main. Stonetalon Mountains was one of the zones I ended up leveling in. I remember being taken aback at what a
I mean,
weird,
you could say it's
almost
weirder than a
psychedelic
fish in underwear.
dreamscape the zone felt like. It reminded me of somewhere where a nightmare would take place, but again, I didn't think anything of it until this happened. This is a screenshot I took at 2:14 a.m.
Hold on.
the 20th of
Yeah, I'm noticing that. I don't know what's going on.
October 2020. I'm in the Windshear Crag pack that I would occasionally level up to see what the Horde side
I just backed it up a little
like.
bit for y'all.
Just a way to relax and see what I would have otherwise missed out on my Alliance main. Stonetalon Mountains
I'm not really sure
was
what
one of
caused
the zones
that.
I ended up leveling in. I remember being taken aback at what a weird, almost
Y'all could still hear
psychedelic
the audio,
dreamscape
right?
the zone felt like. It reminded me of somewhere where a nightmare would take place. But again, I didn't think anything of it until this happened. This is a screenshot I took at 2:14 a.m. on the 20th of October 2020.
Okay, that's good.
I'm in the Windshear Crag part of the zone, and as you can see, my character is dead.
Up until this point, like, the video isn't super important. It's more the audio, but now you do need to kind of see it.
You're probably thinking that a mob must have got me or something.
Because he took a screenshot. I'm assuming it's going to be more like this. I don't know. What's up, Glitch?
But no. The reason I took this screenshot is because my character just died instantly for no reason whatsoever. I was just running around doing some quest when he just dropped dead. At first I thought that maybe a high-level rogue had got me.
Oh wait,
then
hold up.
vanished as
Hold up, Catfish. When did you subscribe? Hold on. Did I miss it?
Oh my.
Thank you for gifting Glitch a subscription. I appreciate that. Did I miss you subscribing, Catfish? What, Glitch? Oh look, I got a new emote too.
something, but
Alright,
I didn't
back
see
to the
any.
video, sorry.
And according to my combat log, nothing happened. He just died. I kept this screenshot because I thought I would put it in a future production of mine, as at the time there was a lot of uproar about how badly Blizzard maintained Classic WoW, with there being a ton of bots and gold sellers flying around. I figured it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for there to be bugs like this too, as, after all, this is Blizzard we're talking about here. Either way, I rezzed up and carried on with my questing before heading off for the night. 24 hours later, and I am, once again, questing in the Windshear Crag. Everything was going smoothly, until once again, bam. It happened again. Instant death, no combat log, just dead. I had never experienced anything quite like this. I mean, yeah, WoW could be buggy, but it's never been this bad. I looked back at the screenshot I took the night before and noticed something really unusual. The time of death on both shots was exactly the same, 2:14 a.m. That was just way too much of a coincidence to ignore. I tried to make a post on r/classic WoW to ask if anyone knew what
That
kept
is
happening
weird.
to my character.
That's really weird.
But it got removed, and then I was banned for no reason. So, yeah, pretty standard. I decided that this was way too much of a coincidence to ignore. So,
I don't know how
plan.
common it is to
The
randomly
next
be
night,
banned on
at
Reddit.
2:14 a.m.,
I've never posted
I
on
would
it.
have my recorder on, just in case my character died again, so that I would have proof of this weird bug in action. The following is what I captured.
I don't know. I don't know.
Nothing. I waited around for a few minutes longer, but it just wasn't happening. I figured that it really must have been just a weird coincidence. Feeling disappointed, I turned off my recorder and carried on questing. But then, boom. It happened again. This time at 2:47 a.m. 3 deaths in a row on 3 different days. But why was this one at a different time than the others? The only difference I noticed between the last shot and the first two is that on the last one, I was at the Charred Vale part of the zone, whereas with the first two,
Yes,
I was in
Futures
the
is
Windshear
here.
Crag.
Did it?
So,
It went out
I had
again. Is it doing that when I have to do stuff in WoW? Hold on. Let me leave that so I don't have to go back.
Another idea. What if I went to the Windshear Crag
Oh
at
my gosh,
2:14
J-Boy, thank you
AM
so much for
and had my
gifting
recorder
Futures
on
a
then
subscription.
instead? Maybe there, it would happen again. So, once again, I set my character there and waited.
Yeah, there's gotta be. So I left the guard thingy. So I won't have to have it. I won't have to have that happen again.
Holy shit. I now had video evidence of this so-called bug in action. But honestly, at this point, I was starting to think there has to be something more to this. Out of curiosity, I wondered that if I went to the Charred Vale at 2:47
I still question
again,
why he was
if it would
naked.
happen there too. Sure enough, it did. "2:14 AM in the Windshear Crag and 2:47 AM in the Charred Vale. I didn't know what it was, but for some reason, at those times, my
Guess this
character
orc just doesn't
would
like
always
wearing clothes.
just drop dead. It was
Some
as if there
folks
was
don't,
an invisible GM
I
playing
guess.
some sort of practical joke or something like that. But we're not done yet. At the very top of the zone lies the third chasm, the Stonetalon Peak. A very leafy and soothing place compared to the other two. I wondered if the weird deaths occurred there too. Sure enough, they did. 2:28 AM. I tested this again the next day, and it happened yet again. 2:14 AM in the Windshear Crag, 2:47 AM in the Charred
That's
Vale,
weird.
2:28 in the
He's got a
Stonetalon
loincloth
Peak.
on. Okay, so
Every
here's the
night,
thing.
At those times,
You can
my
never be
character would
completely
die
naked.
without failure or explanation.
This is a
It would never
like,
happen in the valley part of the
PG-13
zone,
game.
only in the chasms at those exact times. This wasn't a coincidence at this point. I tried to see if anyone else was in the zone at the same time as me, but literally no one ever was. Not too surprising, as this character is on Dragonfang, which is, yeah, a very
Dude, look at how dead Orgrimmar is here. And then let me do this. And give you a comparison here. And this is Orgrimmar. This is a more updated. He's playing classic there. That's when dead server. This is only part of Orgrimmar too. Alright, back to the video.
very dead server to say the least. None of my friends still played, so I couldn't exactly ask them to get a subscription just to test this. And whenever
I'll
I would
probably
ask other
post this
people to
in the
come to
Discord
Stonetalon
after.
Mountains so that I could watch them drop dead, they were surprisingly uncooperative. I decided to do some hardcore research to see if anyone else had noticed this, scrubbing almost the entire internet for even a nugget of information. But alas, nothing. Well, nothing, except that
I
2
don't
years
really
ago,
know.
back when
I'd
Classic
have to
WoW
look that up.
launched, an old Blizzard developer who had long since left the company, Mike Crond, did a Q&A on the r/WoW subreddit, whereby he answered people's questions about what it was like developing the vanilla game. In his opening remarks, he mentioned that he was behind zones such as Desolus, Feralas, Ashenvale, and Stonetalon Mountains. Despite the
Okay.
Q&A being 2 years ago now, I noticed that Mike was very active on Reddit, albeit almost always posting about non-WoW related stuff. Now, I'm not usually one to pry, but man, if anyone knew what was going on here, it would be this guy, and I'm in way too deep to quit now. I just had to ask. So I did. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I had no
I'm tempted. It's tempting to do like a Reddit post where I ask if there are any GMs that just randomly killed a Lopi Forsaken. Back in back in a vanilla WoW.
No idea how to open a conversation with a guy who I don't know and who doesn't know me. I'm not a journalist, I'm a WoW player. By nature, I'm very antisocial and tend not to talk to people unless they talk to me. But this guy wasn't just going to talk to me by himself, so I decided to try to play it cool. Didn't want to come off as too pushy or anything like that. So I said, "Hey there, is it true you worked on Vanilla WoW back in the day?" Honestly, I didn't expect to get an answer, but shockingly enough, he responded almost instantly. Yup. Well, it's better than nothing, I guess. The ice was broken. I just had a question about one of the zones. Nothing serious, just some trivia that I wondered if you could answer. 2 minutes later, shoot. Talkative guy. I've been on Classic WoW recently and leveling up in Stonetalon Mountains. I've noticed that for some reason, my character dies at set times in the early hours of the morning for seemingly no reason. I know it sounds bonkers, but do you have any idea why that is? It's been driving me crazy for days now. After I asked this, the guy just went completely silent.
Oh, that's
I'll be
weird.
honest, I was pretty pissed off. If
I
anyone
would be
would know
too.
why,
Wouldn't y'all be mad? Alright, to answer your question, as of March of 2021, and this is the only, like, altogether data I can get without having to do the math myself, it looks like... Where'd it go? Okay. About 250,000 play... I don't know. 250,000 play daily, and there's like 25 million who are of a player base for it. But the issue here is with Classic is that it's not just WoW Classic for the base. Now they have Burning Crusade Classic, which was the first expansion, and they've announced Wrath of the Lich King Classic. So that's going to be Classic players split between 3 games now, just going to whatever one is their favorite. So who knows what's going to happen to the communities there. I guarantee once the day Dev read that question, he started laughing his ass off because he knew what he did. Maybe.
it would be this guy, and he just bailed on me for no reason. I figured that all hope...
But I don't know, we're only 13 minutes in. This is like 21 minutes long. No, a lot of those people still play retail as well. It's just something that players have been asking for a long time. Now, I'm torn on the way that they did it. I'm torn on if they made a good call by doing separate versions, or if they should have done a progression like EverQuest has, or EverQuest 2 anyway, has progression servers. That might have been a better way to do it, but I don't know.
was lost and that I'd never know what was behind this. And with my limited audience, there was no way I could make a big enough deal out of it to try to get people to figure it out. So, case closed, I guess. Or so I thought. I am not joking with you. 10 months later,
That's
I
a
get
long
another
time.
message from Mike. The message literally just said, "The Socal Lady Killer."
Wait, what? Is that a real thing?
I'm like, what?
Hold up.
No response. Guy just goes completely quiet again. The Socal Lady Killer? What the heck was that? I thought that perhaps he had meant to message someone else and this was sent to me by accident. Decided to look into it and this is what came up. The Socal Lady Killer is the nickname given to an unidentified serial killer who is believed to be behind the murder of 3 women in Southern California throughout the years of 1995 and 1996.
I mean, there
Though
is a
no direct
Socal
evidence
Lady
that
Killer.
links the 3 murders together, the modus operandi of the killer was seemingly identical in all of the cases, with the victims' bodies being mutilated in an almost identical fashion each time. The 3 women, all of which were prostitutes, were believed to be lured to a secluded area by the killer, whereby they were then murdered. Again, I had no idea what this had to do with what I asked, until I read this part.
I don't know. I mean, hold on. I'm trying to see if there are any known references to serial killers in WoW. That is a really long time. It is.
The first victim
I don't
was
see any. I see like
28-year-old
pop
Whitney
culture, which
Fangson.
is
On the
normal for
2nd of
WoW.
August 1995, her body was found on the outskirts of the Windshear lumber mill. Police reports state that she was officially declared dead at 2:14 a.m. 4 months later, on the 5th of December 1995, 25-year-old
Alright,
Sophie
that's
River
weird.
was found in an almost identical state at a hotel room in the nearby village of Los Chared. Police
I don't know.
reports state that she was declared dead at 2:47
Are these real places,
a.m.
Catfish?
The third and final victim was 32-year-old Amy Rassan, who 2 months later, on the 17th of February 1996, was found dead by climbers at the base of Socal Peak.
Oh no.
Police reports state that she was declared dead at 2:28 a.m.
If that's the case, then that's like an expected twist. That would make me feel like this isn't real.
Windshear Lumber Mill was the basis for Windshear Crag. Los Chared was the basis for the Charred Vale. Socal Peak was the basis for Stonetalon Peak.
Why did he cut? Hold on. I just call it this.
Socal.
Why is he pronouncing that as Socal and not Socal? Hold on. Why did he say Socal? Why did he say Socal? I would still say Socal. Maybe it is pronounced Socal. He said the Socal lady killer. He didn't say Socal for that, but J-Boy is probably right. I actually didn't notice the second C.
Socal Peak was the basis for Stonetalon Peak. In addition, the timing of the victims' deaths correlate exactly with the timing of my characters.
I do. Well, J-Boy is here. Or not J-Boy, Futures is here. Oh, hey, Prop is here. I forget where Prop is. But yeah. Yo, I've obviously been failing to reobtain my accent, but it ain't like I don't have one.
The mystery had been solved. The seemingly random deaths are an Easter egg referencing the Socal lady killer. But that's a pretty weird Easter egg, don't you think?
You think?
I went to ask Mike what on earth made him want to add that in the game. But again, I got no response. But this time, it was different. You see, in the past when I...
Are you though? Also, if you just go with American, that could mean many things, because technically, anyone on the North American continent, the South American continent, or in Central America are also Americans.
was blanked, Mike was still actively using Reddit obsessively on a daily basis. But ever since that
I've known people from South Africa. I am not a potato. Oh no, that's J-boy. I gotta write this down. I gotta get Sam saying potato for the sound clips thingy.
last message, he had stopped completely. Not many people know this, but the state of California actually has an online public database of all its residents that states basic information about them.
Catfish, is that true? Because that's horrifying. California's horrifying.
Such as their criminal
gosh.
record, driving viability, and yes, whether they are dead or alive. Well, you're never gonna believe what I found. Michael John Crond, 54, death by suicide.
Why do you have good knife laws? Why? I like knives.
On the 13th of August 2021, the exact same day that he last messaged me. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Crond, World of Warcraft developer from 2000.
Wait. I missed that goofing around with y'all. What?
Well, you're never gonna believe what I found. Michael John Crond, 54, death by suicide. On the
What?
13th of August 2021, the exact same day that he last messaged me.
What?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Crond, World of Warcraft developer from
What the hell?
2004 to 2006, was the Socal Lady Killer. Stonetalon Mountains, a zone which he designed, is nothing more than a direct reference to the crimes he committed 10 years prior to joining Blizzard. It is an open mockery of his victims.
How far? Here, I'll go back to here again, alright?
Believe what I found. Michael John Crond, 54, death by suicide. On the 13th of August 2021, the exact same day that he last messaged me. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Crond, World of Warcraft developer.
It was posted
from
August
2004 to
15th, so probably not.
2006, was the Socal Lady Killer. Stonetalon Mountains, a zone which he designed, is nothing more than a direct reference to the crimes he committed 10 years prior to joining Blizzard. It is an open mockery of his victims, hiding the truth in plain sight while taking great pleasure in how no one else can see it. Typical serial killer behavior. But if you aren't convinced yet, then let me show you this. Every single chasm has a rare mob that is a direct reference to one of the victims. Whitney Fangson died outside of the Windshear lumber mill. Meanwhile, in the Windshear Crag, there's an NPC called Taskmaster Whipfang. Sophie Riven died in Lost Charred. Meanwhile, in the Charred Vale, there's an NPC called Sister Riven. Amy Rasan died on the base of Socal Peak. Meanwhile, in the Stonetalon Peak, there's an NPC called Sentinel Amma Rasan. The cherry on top. In the only safe place in the entire zone, the Sunrock Retreat, is an NPC called Crond. Crond,
what the crap?
the Butcher. So the question you're probably asking yourself is, why? Why would he commit suicide? Well, the answer becomes crystal clear if we go back to the Socal Ladykiller's wiki page. It reads, after being a cold case for over 25 years, on the 2nd of August 2021, LAPD Police Chief Ed Jens announced that the Socal Ladykiller case had been reopened due to advances in forensic technology that may help finally bring the victims some justice. Mike Crond knew that he was about to be found out. Thus, he ended his own life as to escape justice.
What the hell?
But folks, do you want to know the worst part about all of this? The worst part is, I just made all that up.
No!
That's right.
No!
Right. Mike Crond is not a serial killer. In fact, Mike Crond isn't even real. Hell, his picture isn't even real. It was generated by an AI. There's no such thing as the Socal Ladykiller, and my character didn't even die randomly in the Stonetalon Mountains. I just got a friend of mine to use the neutral auction house to trade me a dark rune. Hell, even the character isn't even the same. So, the question you must be asking is, why? Why did I make up this entire story? Well, you see, it's simple. If I can come up with an interesting and somewhat believable story that grips people enough to keep them listening for 20 minutes about the pissing Stonetalon Mountains, no less, then Blizzard has no excuse to not write a good story of their own, especially with their ridiculously overpaid writing team at their disposal. Dear WoW lore team, get it together, you absolute amateurs.
That was well played. That was well played. I'm gonna give them a like. That was well done.